The knock came at exactly 2:17 a.m. 3 slow, deliberate taps. Not loud, just enough to wake me up. I remember thinking, no one should be at my door at that hour. And then, it happened again. I live alone in a small rented house just outside a quiet town. Nothing fancy. One bedroom, a narrow hallway, and a front door that opens directly into the living room. It was late October. Cold enough that the windows fogged up at night. That night, I had fallen asleep on the couch watching random videos. I checked my phone when I woke up. 2:17 a.m., another knock. 3 taps. Same pattern. At first, I thought maybe it was a neighbor. Maybe something urgent. But the thing is, my nearest neighbor is about 200 meters away. And no one ever comes by unannounced. Especially not at 2 in the morning. I sat up slowly listening. Silence. Then I heard something else. A faint, dragging sound. Right outside my door. I got up and walked toward the door, trying not to make noise. My heart was already racing, but I kept telling myself it was nothing. Probably just someone drunk, or lost. The dragging sound stopped. Then a voice. Whisper. Hello. It was a man's voice. Low. Almost tired. I froze. Can you help me? There was something off about it. Not scary in an obvious way, just wrong. Like he was trying too hard to sound normal. I didn't respond. Instead, I leaned closer to the door, careful not to touch it. Please, he said again. I'm hurt. That made me hesitate. Because what if he really was hurt? I stepped back and grabbed my phone. No missed calls, no messages. I opened the camera app and slowly moved toward the small peephole on the door. But before I even looked, knock. Louder this time. I flinched. Why aren't you answering? The man said. His tone had changed. No longer weak, no longer polite. Just irritated. I held my breath and finally looked through the peephole. At first, I didn't see anyone. Just the empty porch. Then, something moved. Low to the ground. It took me a second to understand what I was seeing. The man wasn't standing. He was crouched. Right below the peephole's line of sight. And when he slowly leaned upward, his face came into view. I wish I hadn't looked. His eyes were wide open. Too wide, not blinking, and his mouth slightly open like he was smiling, but not fully. Just enough to feel wrong. We made eye contact. Even though I knew he couldn't technically see me through the peephole, it felt like he could. Then he whispered, I know you're there. I stumbled back from the door, my chest tightening. There was no way he should have known that. I hadn't made a sound. Not a single one. The silence stretched for a few seconds. Then, knock. Faster this time. More aggressive. Open the door, he said. Slow. Open the door. I backed further into the living room, grabbing the nearest thing I could find. A heavy metal flashlight. My mind was racing. Should I call the police? Should I yell? Before I could decide, I heard something that made my stomach drop. A second knock. From the back door. I froze completely. There was no way. My house only has one entrance to the front yard. The backyard is fenced off. No one could just walk around that easily. Knock. From behind me now. Same pattern. Same rhythm. The man at the front door started laughing. Soft at first, then louder. You should have opened it, he said. Now it's too late. I turned slowly toward the hallway that led to the back door. Every step felt heavy. The knocking from both doors started to sync. Front door, back door, front, back. Like they were communicating. I didn't dare check the back door peephole. Instead, I locked myself in my bedroom and pushed a dresser against the door. The knocking stopped instantly. Complete silence. I stayed there, barely breathing. Minutes passed. Maybe longer. I don't even know. Then, my phone buzzed. I almost dropped it. Unknown number. I stared at it for a second, then answered. Hello? Whisper. No response. Just breathing. Slow. Heavy. And then, I heard it. The same voice. From the phone. And from outside my bedroom door. The exact same time. Why are you hiding? He asked. My blood ran cold. I slowly turned toward the bedroom door. There was a shadow underneath it. Someone standing right outside. I hadn't heard any footsteps. No doors opening. Nothing. Just there. The doorknob started to turn. Slowly. Deliberately. But it wouldn't open. The dresser was holding it shut. He stopped. Then softly. Whisper. That won't help. The phone call ended. Silence again. Then, footsteps. Walking away. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. Didn't even blink. After what felt like forever, I finally worked up the courage to move the dresser and open the door. The house was empty. Front door still locked. Back door still locked. No signs of forced entry. Nothing. It was like no one had ever been there, except on the floor right in front of my bedroom door. There was something. A piece of paper. Folded. My hands were shaking as I picked it up. Inside, there was a message. Written in messy, uneven handwriting. It said, "You looked." That's it. No name. No explanation. Just those 2 words. I called the police after that. They checked everything. No footprints. No fingerprints. No evidence of anyone being there. They told me it was probably a prank. Someone messing with me. But here's the part that still doesn't make sense. I never told them about the peephole. I never mentioned looking through it. And yet, that note knew. I moved out a week later, didn't even finish my lease. For a while, nothing happened. No knocks, no calls. I started to believe it was over. Until last night. I was in my new apartment. Different town. Different building. Top floor. Completely secure. And at exactly 2:17 a.m., there it was again. Knock, knock, knock. Slow. Deliberate. From my front door. And then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I didn't answer. But a voicemail came through. I listened to it this morning, and I wish I hadn't. Because the voice whispered. It wasn't asking for help anymore. It just said, "I can see you now."